everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn them notifications on. So, behind me, you'll see, got the fertiliser spinner on. We're applying a little bit of nitrogen today to all of our wheat ground. So we've got 101 acres to go over. Mark is currently just going up to the rented ground. He's already done 2 fields up there, their first weeks, putting on about 140 kilos to the hectare, so not a great deal at the moment, but just a little bit of fertiliser to get the crop growing. Just heading off now to do the third field up there, which is a second wheat, and that's being applied at about 250 kilos to the hectare. So because it's a second wheat, you got to up the rate a little bit because it needs a little bit more nitrogen. So far so good. Travelling isn't an issue, which is a little bit of a surprise because it has been quite wet up until now, but we haven't had as wet a winter that we usually have. So touch wood, we're going to be all right for travelling on the ground. There's a couple of fields down here. Our ground is a little bit wetter than the stuff we rent. There is a couple of fields down here that we're a little bit more cautious with, especially one which is a little 5-acre field furthest away from the farm. That one's really wet, so we're kind of contemplating not doing that one at the moment. But that is what Mark is up to today. He's just heading up the road. We've also got 3 fields of fresh grass seeds up on the ground we rent as well. And my plan for this afternoon is one of them fields, there's quite a bit of grass come on there and it's feeling quite firm underfoot. So we're going to get up there with a flat roll and try and get that rolled now. We don't want to start going on there in a couple of weeks when the grass has started growing, because then we're looking to hamper our yield. So we're going to try and get that rolled as soon as possible. And also, while the ground is firm but a little bit softer, the roll's going to do more good than when it dries out a little bit. So let's get the roll hooked up and get up there. So got ourselves now set up with the rolling job. I'm currently in about a 6-acre field, and this is the driest field of the block of 3 grass fields up here, and it's just about at that right stage for rolling. You wouldn't want it much wetter than what it is. The Chevys on the tyres are digging in a little bit, but if you wait for them not to dig in, well, you might as well not bother rolling it, because none of the stone is actually going to get pressed down. So to be fair, it's doing a nice job. I'm doing about 4.5 miles an hour, which is covering a nice bit of ground. At the end of the day, fuel weight, the way it is, we can't be going really slow and using a lot of fuel. So I'm just covering the ground. Obviously, it's going to press the stone in, get this grass all to the same sort of growth stage. And you'll have just seen from the bit of clip I put in before me talking, there's a nice bit of grass on this field. Ideally, we would have rolled this once we fertiliser spun it, just in case the fertiliser spinner had made any mess on the ground. But it's a little bit too soon yet to be going on with fertiliser on grass. We want a couple more weeks yet before we do that. So that is the current state of play. I'm going to see what the field next to me is like once I finish this one. That one is usually a little bit wetter, so I'm not holding my breath. I am kind of expecting just to do this one field we're on today, but we'll see what happens. It's a lovely day, sun's shining. Wind's got up a little bit, which is not ideal for Mark with the fertilising, but where we are now, it's always windier up here than down at home, so hopefully, fingers crossed, the wind hasn't got too rough down there and he's been able to carry on with the fertiliser spinning. We can withstand a little bit of wind, but if it gets too windy, it'll start affecting the flight of the prill, and that's not what you want. It's going to be a mismatch on the application. So this is actually the first proper day's field work I've done on the new tractor. So any of you who aren't familiar, head back over the channel. You'll see we had a new tractor last autumn, a Case Farmall 115U Pro, and that is what I'm currently rolling on today. So first impression of the tractor, very nice. It's a very nice quiet cab in here, easy to drive, nice and light on the steering for the turn on the ends. I mean, let's be honest here, rolling is not really the kind of job you can review a tractor on, because you're just driving up and down. You could be driving on the worst tractor ever, and yeah, it's not really going to affect the job too much. Time I'll be able to tell a little bit more is when we get this on some heavier work, maybe some baling or mowing, power harrowing, you know, them kinds of jobs. But with the rolling, yeah, it's a very nice drive. More comfortable than the JXU, I have got to say that. You just sort of sat in it a little bit better. Just spin you around again. With having, you know, your controls here, obviously hydraulics and things here and everything. You just kind of sat in to the seat a little bit better than on the JXU, where everything was just miles away to the side and miles away down there. It's closed in a little bit. What else is there to say, really? Hopefully get some slurry out the next couple of weeks, so we'll do a bit more of talk about the tractor in that. But overall, on my first hour and a half, 2 hours of rolling, I'm very impressed with the new tractor. Just pulled into this second field along here, so I've just rolled the field to my right there, and I think that this is just a little bit too damp underfoot. I think I'm gonna stop rolling this one and leave it for another day or two just to dry off a little bit more. Oh, it's so difficult because it's literally just on the verge of being a little bit too wet. So instead of just the chevrons on the tires digging in, it is slightly rutting it with the wheels as well. So I've given it a few passes just to see what it was like, but I think when I get to the top, I'm going to unhook the roll and just leave this now to dry off for a couple more days. Don't want to start rutting the ground if we can help it, and obviously it is still very early. It's only the 7th of March today, so we got a few more days. As well as I was saying earlier on, this field here hasn't quite got the grass growth on it or the one next to us, so it can stand another week or so. But hopefully we get a dry week and a couple more days. The sun has gone in now, but a couple more days and this should be dry enough. So I think we're going to head down home and see what's happening down there. So I've just finished milking here. You'll see Dad just scraping up the cubicles again. Over here, look. So a pretty successful day. Mark got around all of the wheat ground for today. Yeah, so a pretty successful day for us today. Got all the wheat ground done with the fertiliser, so there's a job off the list. As you'll have seen from the rolling, I got one field done and started another, not quite so successful on the second field. Hopefully we don't get any rain this week and I can revisit that one in a couple of days time. I think the plan for tomorrow is Mark's going to go back round again with the fertiliser spinner. We've got some sulphur to put on, so that's the plan for tomorrow, I think. But it all depends. If we get a bit of rain overnight, that might delay things a little bit, but there we go. In other news, this is almost the end of the video. Over here, so this morning I had a cow to calve. So the cow and calf are both in here. We'll take a quick look. So I've just sort of starting to have a few cows to calve now. There is our cow. I'm not quite sure whether you'll be able to see that or not. It's a little bit dark in here. And then here is the calf. He's just down here. It's a little Hereford bull. Nice little calf. Here she comes from behind. Got to be a little bit careful because they get very protective over their calves at times. And we'll leave them two to it. He has already sucked today. I had to calve her this morning. I finished milking at about 8 o'clock. Then I had to calve her after milking. Not too bad, just that she wouldn't have been able to do it on her own. The calf's a little bit too big, so she just needed a little bit of assistance. It wasn't really I calved her, I just helped her out with it. Anyway, I think that brings us to the end of today's video. More to come this week, I would think, hopefully. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment down below. Head over to my Instagram, case.farms, and we'll see you all in the next one.